a movie. Yeah, after I'm done.
In 1996, VHS became society's unwanted collector's item. How, as a society, could we not abandon VHS? VHS was groundbreaking upon its release in 1976. It gave consumers access to films in the comfort of their own homes and allowed us the capability to record our lives with a VHS video camera. But DVD is digital, and it provided vast improvements in picture and sound quality. And it's shiny. A while back I was watching Videodrome, a film that focuses heavily on videotape and our connection to it, and I started to feel sad. I began to wonder what happened to VHS. What purpose can this analog technology serve in our current digital world? VHS played a major role in my life. For as long as I can remember, my family gatherings were always filmed. First with Super 8mm film, and then with videotape when VHS arrived.
Arnie what? Arnie Smith?
Hi, Smith.
How old are you?
2 years.
2 years, yeah.
I never wanted to be in front of the camera, though. As soon as my family purchased the VHS camera, I picked it up, and I never wanted to put it down.
Let's say something.
Something.
I started filming everything. I think it annoyed my family, though. My little sister became my favorite target.
Well, just right or left.
That camera gave me access to a lifetime of making movies. It's part of my history.
The death of VHS, I don't know when that exactly was. I think I missed that
2006.
announcement. 2006 was the death of VHS? Yeah, I missed that date. VHS is my most watched medium. Besides that, a DVD now and then, or a Laserdisc, but I didn't realize VHS had officially died.
My question of what purpose does VHS serve now led me to several individuals who not only still own a VCR, but value its existence.
Alright, here's a bit of my collection. We're going to start at one end, and then, a couple hours we should be down at the other end. I don't really want to go rent a new DVD. I don't watch the new movies in the theater. I would just rather pull something out, like right here, this Hell Behind the Bars. It's got nice cover art. It's got some women on there. I gotta check that out. I just grabbed that the other day, That looks a little more entertaining, even though it has no subtitles. I'd rather watch that over the Nightmare on Elm Street remake or anything like that, so. House of Death is a fun one with some gore on the cover that has a little bit of collectability. Video first came out and people had the opportunity to go ahead and rent all these crazy films. They had all this stuff at their fingertips that they never had before. I think that's when horror fans really came out of the woodwork. Both the original Faces of Death on their
Grab them and kill them on the big clamshell from Twilight video.
I was excited
People
about
are in
getting
Monterey
that
video, stuff. These movies are kind of Scimitar, the Scimitar label, just distributing the entire country
through via video store.
I got 5 or 6 of them here.
Lots of death scenes, and then they all turned out to be fake and stuff anyway. So that kind of had a new draw that kind of made people a little bit like, oh, what's that flick about? I can't find it anywhere. What's Cannibal Holocaust? Have you ever seen Cannibal Holocaust? I remember that as a kid. Like, my buddies said his uncle had Cannibal Holocaust, and he saw it, and it was a big deal because we had never seen it, and we didn't know where it could possibly exist or anything. And I don't even know if he saw it. He probably didn't see it, but I know he said his uncle had it. I don't know for sure, but it wasn't until quite a while after that I found it, but that I had actually seen it. But I think that's one of the things. It's just like it's nostalgia for people. I wouldn't be surprised if half of these movies go for $50 to $100. I mean, there's probably not one of them that will go under $30. VHS, well, horror VHS in particular, a lot of titles only exist on VHS. Stuff's out of print. Certain cuts are only available on VHS, you know, certain flicks, and there's a constant flow of films that you've never seen before and that no one's ever heard of before, and you can just, part of that is the reason why I collect. I guess it's a big collection of stuff that no one really knows about, so I'm kind of into preserving that aspect of it.
Well, the first issue we pressed 250, and they went. We gave a lot of them away because we wanted people to know about it and to spread the word. But second issue, I think we pressed like maybe 400, and then with 3 we pressed 500, and with 4 we pressed 600, and they're going. You know, we're still able to sustain the magazine, and I mean, we send magazines to Australia, you know, the UK, all over Europe, believe it or not, Spain, places like that, a lot of Canada, but people want to learn about it everywhere. You know, like I said, there's VHS to be had all over the world. Every VHS collector is different, you know, in some way. Everybody's out for this tape or that tape, or, you know, have you seen this? Oh, you have to. And then, you know, there's those kind of collector where it's like about the films, like me. That's a good representation of how I feel about it. And then you have the collectors, which I could be wrong here, I don't know, but Earl's like that. He has a lot of cool stuff, you know what I mean? A lot of big boxes and things like that where...
Monster Hunter is a Wizard video, still in the shrink wrap, like brand new, mint, strong, like straight, you know, 25, 30 years old and still kicking. Let's Play Dead, aka Schoolgirls in Chains, hard one to find. Masala del Terre is like, me and one other guy have this film.
The nostalgia of it and the way it's just like a big box, and like the artwork's huge, and like the artwork's really cool, and like it's in pristine condition and things like that. I think a lot of people are interested in the cult aspect of it too, because it's super cult, you know, and you know, that's another fun aspect of it, is being in that cult and being friendly, you know, and being able to find new stuff through people that know about certain stuff, and you trade in a way. You trade ideas, and you trade opinions, and you trade tapes. The nostalgia is there, that's the heart of it. Still loving the VHS, still wanting it to be present, people to still, you know, a little harsh word here, but like respect it, you know, understand that it carries something, and that like it's a format that shouldn't be forgotten. It shouldn't be blown into oblivion because DVD is, or Blu-ray now is, you know, gonna blow it out of the water. I mean, it has the power to preserve media that we'll never ever see otherwise. And I think I'll say that over and over again, I think that's something really important about the VHS tape.
As I was selling the movie posters and used tapes and things with Trash Palace, I was going to a lot of horror conventions. And I noticed a lot of these dealers selling copies of rare movies at pretty ridiculous prices. They generally, like, they didn't know what they had, and they looked really horrible. So I thought, well, I can sell some of these things less than that, and I'm a fan of this stuff, so I know what I've got. So I went to a convention, and I had a Trash Palace table. I took some of the more obscure movies, things that weren't available in this country, that were copies of foreign tapes and out-of-print laser discs from Japan and stuff. And I made a lot of money that day, and I thought, aha. Right after high school, I got a job for a small company videotaping weddings. And the portable VCRs at the time were these big things you had to strap on. It was either a VHS player or a beta player, the camera, the light, and the battery pack. So I'm sure my chiropractor was pretty happy about all that. But one day, I took all this portable equipment home and I hooked it up to my dad's Betamax, and lo and behold, I found that I was able to copy a tape. It was John Carpenter's The Thing. And that kind of blew my mind that I could actually own a copy of one of these movies. Because this was at the time when they were still, VHS and beta tapes were rental prices. They would come out with ridiculous list prices, like $90 a tape. You ever see a used video cassette and it says $90 on the side? So that was for the stores to rent. So the idea of having your backup copy, as the lawyers would put it, that was awesome. Yeah, I would say that in 2010, not only is there still a market for people collecting VHS tapes, and some, to a lesser degree, some beta tapes, because of the boxes and the obscurity and so forth, it seems to me that much in the way that record albums kind of went down in value as they were coming out on CD, and then started to kind of go up again as things become harder to get. People want them more. And it's the same thing with the video cassettes. As Blockbuster kind of took over, the mom and pop stores sold off their tapes very cheap. Now Blockbusters are going out. Cassettes are getting harder to get. So in any kind of collector's market, as things get harder to get, they're going to go up in value.
And so we opened Video Vault, you know, with literally 500 titles from 1985 till 2010.
Yeah, we closed at the end of April.
End of April. You know, in VHS and beta, and of movies that nobody else had. We advertised guaranteed worst movies in town because I had found through a magazine the Ed Wood collection, which wasn't available in the United States, but there was a company in Toronto, Canada that sold all of the Ed Wood films at Mit One Video. So we ordered his whole catalog and you know, started advertising guaranteed worst movies in town. So this, you know, reporter for the local paper calls up and goes, you know, I can't believe you've got the worst movies. I said, yeah, man, our movies suck, you know.
Back when we first started, it was an entirely different industry too. It was.
It wasn't new release driven like it is today.
Well, true, because it was such a new thing. It wasn't just the new. People came in and wanted to rent them. It didn't have to be a new release. It could be anything because it was just brand new to be able to watch a movie at home. So they would be more happy to watch just about anything. But movies were, everything was expensive. When we first opened, I think the average price was $59, and that was our cost.
So we got a toll-free number. This was early on, way before Netflix. I mean, this was before DVD or anything. And so we had a rental by mail business, and at one time we had members from all 50 states. We had people like Johnny Ramone of the Ramones. He was one of our members. You know, when DVD came out, I would imagine the same thing happened when CDs came out. There was a group that threw away their phonograph, you know, their record player. And the same thing happened when DVD came out. There was a group that threw away their VHS machines. And so then they'd come into the store and they'd want to rent something. And you know, there's still to this day hundreds and hundreds of movies that have never come out on DVD. So they'd get pissed. It's like, what do you mean I can't rent the, you know, well, I mean, if you had a VHS player, you could rent it, you know. Well, you know, so I kind of always laughed at that, you know.
VHS tapes, and to a certain extent beta tapes, are still relevant for a couple of reasons. First of all, you have the collectible side of it. A lot of people collect them because they like the rare boxes, just like people collect records for the album cover art.
I mean, the big powerful thing about VHS are the covers. I mean, everybody loves the covers that knows about VHS. It's one of the, sometimes even better than the film itself. You know, and that's due in part because that's how they got you to pick it up and rent it and all that sort of thing. You know, they wanted to shock you and awe you and impress you and want you to pick up the VHS.
A lot of people collect the big cardboard boxes, which in the industry kind of went in the porn direction. Like now when you see a big video box, you think it's probably a porn movie. But I think in the rental, early days of the rentals, they would make these big boxes to try to get people's attention. You know, if you were in a store, I mean, really, like in the early 80s, you just rented whatever was there. You didn't have like a huge selection. So if you went by like the horror rack of a video store and you saw some huge box, like this one here, for instance, the Gorgor Girls. I mean, if you were like a young person and you saw this sitting on the shelf, how could you not rent that film? Look at that. It's almost like an insane breakfast cereal box.
I think the big box era was just really about that cover sell. Like, you'll see some of the awesomest artwork, if that's a word, on like Wizard Video, and different things, and really lurid, like monsters and women and blood and violence, and the box was twice as big, you know, and you could really pull you know, pull an audience in off that and to get them to rent the movie. They're kind of hard to find because that's just the thing. They were at video stores. When video stores, you know, a lot of them just cut the box down and shoved it in the hard plastic case.
One of the first big video rental chains was Earl's Video, which eventually got bought out by Blockbuster. And their tapes are all distinguishable because they cut every box and they put it into one of these plastic cases with the sponge stuff inside of it that sticks to the tape now.
And then there's the same kind of people that won't get cut boxes that I was talking about. Like, oh yeah, it's cut, I don't want it. I'm like, oof, give it to me, because I just want that movie.
We had several customers when we were selling out everything in the store that they only wanted the box. They weren't interested in the movie. And we said, well, you get the movie. You don't get a lesser price just for the box. You get the movie, goes with it. No, I don't even care about the movie. I just want the box.
It was for the artwork, so we ended up selling the box and then selling the movies to somebody else that didn't care about the box, you know?
They say VHS were supposed to last like 20 years because they're gonna melt or the plastic was gonna do something, and I've had more DVDs get ruined over and over than VHS. Now and then, you know, some crappy VHS. I put Jason X in the other day. I don't know why. I never saw it. I was like, Jason X, whatever, I'll pop it in. And it instantly was eaten, and it didn't hurt anything VCR wise, but it was the crappiest tape. Like, it weighed like 2 ounces or something like that. But a lot of my tapes are like really nice quality from the past. Like, my oldest tapes are the heaviest tapes, and they are the best playing tapes. Like the late 70s tapes I have, just really nice high quality, and like you'd be surprised, it's better than a lot of the transfers on the low budget DVD labels these days.
Nowadays with high def DVDs, you supposedly get more detail and stuff, but I don't know, there's just something about that film aesthetic. Some of the VHS tapes, because they weren't remastered, are closer to the film aesthetic, even though the DVD might give you a clearer view of the film. So it all just depends on how they mastered it. For sure, there are movies that when they came out on VHS and I saw them the first time had a certain kind of impact, like we were saying, horror films especially, that on DVD didn't seem quite as visceral because of the full color and brightly lit and all that stuff.
But what I found lately was that people were still wanting to rent VHS. It was, even though DVD, it's like two groups. You've got one group that's, of course, the DVD's the latest thing is what's better picture and la-di-da-di-da, and that's all they want was on DVD. They're not interested in anything else. But then there's also this group that likes the look of VHS.
Holding a VHS in your hand and like I said, the artwork, and just, you know, putting into the VCR, the gentle hum of the VCR, as my friend so well put it one time. And, you know, and when you watch these old low-budget movies, when you watch them on a VCR, it's like, they're dingy, they're dinged up, you know what I mean? And it adds to the atmosphere of the film sometimes. It makes you feel like, for me, I'm 25, so it makes me feel like a kid again, you know, in the 90s watching movies late at night, you know, and they're kind of beat up or like they skip a little bit or, you know, something like that. It adds to it for me. I really, really love that about the VHS.
If you've got a brand new movie on VHS and a brand new movie on DVD, 9 out of 10 times the VHS is going to be worth more than the DVD is worth.
There's a huge, like, underground, feverish gang of VHS collectors, horror VHS collectors on eBay and Amazon. If you go into eBay or Amazon and you search, you know, Nightmare in a Damaged Brain on VHS or some kind of crazy movie, you'd be surprised to see the numbers that people are asking. $80 for a VHS tape, $100, $200, it goes on and on and on.
We're selling VHS, you know, we just got, last week we sold a title that, you know, brought in $100 for one VHS. I mean, it's just unbelievable what people are willing to pay for it.
I mean, it depends. It depends. I know tapes that go for certain prices and stuff, and it's still shocking. I share some of my friends that are totally just not in the VHS world, like, yo, check this out, check this tape out. It just went for $333, man. And they're like, what? It's a VHS tape. And you're like, yeah, these people want this stuff, man.
As more and more young movie fans are coming into it, they're used to seeing things digitized and on DVD and not necessarily projected in a theater. And it's not to say that they're wrong or anything like that, but they're used to seeing these really clean, crisp versions of things. So the once rare video cassette version, unless there's some reason to have that video cassette for the film, if it's they make a mistake and they overmat the DVD, or they screw up and they put out a movie and it's accidentally cut. That happens a lot. I don't want to like rag on any labels, but they know who they are. Then that video cassette, to me, is just as valuable or more valuable.
I can't really sell anyone on VHS as far as a medium. If they're hating on it, hate away, because it makes sense. It's just like, it's not the greatest thing, but I mean, the one thing I can say to that is I'm watching a lot of films that you'll probably never see any other way.
And right up to the end, we had people that would be looking for a new release on VHS and would be so surprised
that we didn't have.
I'm sorry, they haven't made those in 3 or 4 years now. But yeah, there are people that really preferred the VHS. We were the last VHS standing.
Yeah.
In this area.
So wouldn't it be cool to have a place that just is dedicated to this media? A place you walk in has, you know, huge blown up signs of artwork and like, you know, displays of, you know, certain kind of tapes. Some are beat up, some are pristine. You know, just placards of the history of a VHS tape, and just a really cool like place where you can go and learn about VHS. You know what I mean? And just learn about a piece of media that spawned home entertainment, you know, in every single way. And you know, I think that's really relevant, especially when we live in an age where everybody is glued to their television or their iPod or their computer or anything like that, where people want to be entertained. You know what I mean? This is where home entertainment came from. You know, people put stuff on VHS, and now you don't have to go outside anymore. So.
Can I take a movie?
Yeah, after I'm done.